Welcome back to State of Decay 2 and the Salt of the Earth. I don't have a lot of time today because I spent most of my lunch break dealing with a car issue. My daughter's car her battery is completely shot, and so we're trying to figure out what to do with that. So that took up a lot of my time. So I don't have a lot of time today, and I had to figure out, well, what am I going to do? And I realized that I have a couple of bounties in the pawn shop pack that are all about crafting things. And while my nightmare community is not in a good position to just be crafting random things, like their resources are extremely tight, and I haven't built them up enough to even be able to craft a lot of stuff that I want. The Salt of the Earth is, of course, my community that is built up specifically to be able to craft pretty much anything, anytime. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to run up to the bounty broker, swap out the bounties that I currently have for the crafting bounties, and just get those things done real fast. So that should be a fairly quick thing for me to get done. Let me make sure that, yeah, we've got enough... Got enough fuel in the Palato. So I'll head up that direction. So Cogs242 asked a question at the very beginning of my stream that it was an interesting question. He asked, if a community of 12 each had the formal recognition hero bonus, which gives you a plus 50% standing, does that mean that the entire community would stack to having plus 600% standing? I believe that actually is true. Yes, I think that would happen. I don't think we've got any kind of maximum implemented on how much of a standing bonus you can get, and those things do stack with each other. So yeah, if you decided to just maximize that, you could get into a situation where your characters are leveling up their standing extremely quickly. As far as the visible, obvious effects in the game, you'd exhaust the benefits of that really fast. Your characters would, get up to through citizen to hero level extremely quickly, and then it would cap out, and that benefit would seem really useless at that point. However, behind the scenes, the other thing that would be happening is your collective standing, which is what we base a lot of our difficulty tuning on, would also go up, and that would keep going up in the background even as your characters individually capped out their sort of official visible standing. So now even that also caps out. Like we don't have, the difficulty of the game doesn't just infinitely keep going up forever. Eventually you hit the final thing on our chart, like the last difficulty advancement that we make, and that would also cap out. But you would get there much faster if you really want the game to just, get really hard as fast as it possibly can. That is a way to do it.
I expect you could help with these bounties.
Okay, so let's cancel those two bounties for now. But making 10 cups of coffee, crafting 15 Molotovs, I think those are the only two that I had, right? I think, yeah, everything else isn't about crafting. So crafting 10 cups of coffee and crafting 15 Molotovs. That is a thing I can do. So let's go over to the workshop. Let's go to the Molotovs and craft... Okay, so I craft 12 Molotovs with just one action because I've got a filling machine, I've got knowledge of chemistry. Molotovs are incredibly cheap for this community. So I just need to do that twice, basically, and I've got actually more Molotovs than I need to complete that bounty.
Talon has some work for you. I will make it worth your time.
And then the other thing was cups of coffee, which
Fast, though.
I don't think I have maxed that out quite as far. Yeah, I got to do that 2 at a time. That cost me 2 food, but I've got 60 food, and I'm pretty sure this community makes a profit on food, so I just need to do this action 5 times. 10 was my goal, right? It's almost an ASMR sound going on there. All right, great. We got those bounties taken care of.
Let us see what's available, shall we?
So let's complete that one, which is just influence, and then complete this one. Wait, no, that's the same one. What am I talking about? Complete this one, which got me a close combat weapon. Great. All right, so now let's go back to the ones we had. Juggernauts with rifles and Screamers with fire. You know what? Because this community has got so much better access to Molotovs, killing Screamers with fire also feels like one that we should do with this community. And actually, we've got one right. We got definitely some screamers here and some screamers here. Let's head up to this outpost. Wait a minute, I'm going the wrong direction. Let's head up to this outpost and grab ourselves some of those Molotovs. And let's see if we can make some progress in that bounty. Because, you know, that took me all of a few minutes, and I've still got a little bit of lunch break left, so I think that'll be a fun way to spend it. So yeah, we can run in here. Drop off our wormling. Unless... Actually, I'd rather this character have the wormling. So let's give her the wormling, drop off our police knife, and then let's grab...
Don't store our supplies appropriately. Shit gets broken.
a bunch of these Molotovs that we created. We got so many Molotovs now. All right. And now we're going to go hunting for these guys. Infestations. Now, screamers can happen everywhere, of course, but the most reliable place to get them is infestations. So I think I actually want to just go over land to get here. Okay, we do have, actually, next time I'm in a fairly safe place, I should probably check in with the chat, because I think a few people have shown up that I have not even acknowledged yet, so hold tight. I am going to read what you're saying. And actually, while I'm driving, my phone is buzzing. I want to make sure it's not any kind of emergency. Nope, it's not. Okay, here we go. Now, is this... Oh, it's right. Okay, this is actually the place. They're just inside there. So I don't know how big this infestation is. Oh, it's just one screamer, so this is not going to be that great. Oh, hello. Oh, come on. Stop that. Okay, that's one screamer with fire anyway. Hi. Nice thing about having a filling station is you can make so many Molotovs that you just don't care what you're using them on. Like, this character doesn't need to use Molotovs to kill these zombies, but she can, so why not? Right, infestation cleared out. I mean, while I'm here, might as well scavenge, right? And while I'm scavenging, let's see who's talking to me. So Jimmy VR1 is here, Steve143, Artalvos, It Is Infinity, bunch of cool people, Sir Nanobot. Okay, let me actually go inside for a second. No, that's not how we go inside. No, that is also not how we go inside. We close the door. There we go. All right, let me just real quick catch up with the chat, particularly people who have tagged me in their messages, because I know that means that they feel like their messages are very important. So Sir Nanobot says, would it be possible to enlist more than one follower, up to 3, from the same or different enclaves or community, etc., to have a team like a co-op game would be? Some missions can result in this possibility. So yeah, so we do allow very rare missions to give you more followers than we typically allow, particularly at the very beginning of the game. I believe that we have your initial companions following you. Normally we only allow a single follower at a time. And sometimes I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that if a mission assigns you a follower, we usually try to make your existing follower, like if you had a follower who you just asked for from your base or hired from an enclave, that those followers will actually go away to try to limit the number of followers. And the reason that we do that is because we've got some resource limitations on how much AI we can handle at a time, particularly on our lower spec machines. That if you have too many AI characters, sort of gathered around together, particularly like human AI characters gathered around in a very tight space where all of them are being simulated at sort of the maximum level that they can be, that can actually hit the CPU pretty hard. And given everything else that's going on in the game, that can sometimes push us over a limit where the performance of the game starts to suffer. We actually tend to be more bound by CPU limits than by anything else. And so that's why we have to kind of put some hard limitations on that. And so while, theoretically it's possible, And there are a few places where we've made exceptions and we've taken the risk of letting you have, more followers at the same time. We keep those limits in place because if we allow, particularly because players aren't typically, we don't expect players to be aware of what's hard on the CPO and what's not and make their decisions accordingly. We don't want to create a situation where a player does a perfectly normal thing that we have told them is okay. Like, for instance, asking 3 people to come with you as followers. And then have there be performance hitches because of it, and the player doesn't know why, and it just feels like the game is busted. Like, that's a bad experience for everybody. And so that's why we put the hard limits on there. That, and also another thing that we've discovered is when we did early on in development allow you to have multiple followers, it also just, the game got so easy at that point where just your followers taking care of everything. I mean, you've seen, a full base of characters dealing with a siege. A lot of the time the siege is just barely happening for you as a player because your other characters are taking care of it so much. And so that also just seemed like a non-optimal experience, being able to just sort of gang up on the zombies like that without having the added benefit of having actual real world friends with you. And so between all of those factors, that's why we constrained the number of followers that you can have. So because, our min spec machine is not likely to change, those factors are still true. We still need to support the game being really sort of, fun and usable for players on, for instance, an original Xbox One. And so given that, I don't see us really, prioritizing, relaxing those restrictions. Let me just make sure at least the heaviest stuff, and actually, I mean, come on, how often do I use snacks? Not that often. Let's put those in there. Oh, so Shadow Wolf is pointing out that it seems like since Update 29, there might be some missing dialogue in Trumbull Valley. If you can report exactly what's happening to support.stateofdecay.com, that would be really, really helpful. Because we really like to find out about stuff like that. It's really easy for just absolutely random things to break. If I'm trying to remember who you might be talking about, because one thing that can happen is if we are if we're a little bit uncareful, for instance, with how a particular character is generated, it's very easy for them to end up with a voice that can't say all of their dialogue lines, for instance. So that's an easy mistake for us to make. And so it could be that crept in with Update 29, or it could be that you just ran into conditions after 29 that triggered the bug, and you didn't run into them before 29. So it could be caused by 29, or it could just be other conditions kicked in coincidentally at the same time. That actually happens a lot with our updates, is that, so there's so much randomness in our game, so many things that just sort of are under nobody's control, that there tends to be a psychological effect where after we issue an update, whatever random things happen right after the update, people tend to attribute to the update. And sometimes they're correct. Sometimes the update really did cause a change. But other times, that thing that they encountered, usually, oftentimes it's a difficulty spike. Sometimes, that difficulty spike that somebody encountered really was totally random. It would have happened with or without the update. But because it happened right after the update in time, it's really easy to sort of tell yourself a story in your brain that the difficulty spike was caused by the update and that the update made the game harder, even if it's not actually true. Okay, we got 2 screamers here, which is fun. Hello. Take care of these guys. Let's knock this door down and all the zombies, and then toss in a nice fire. Get 2 more screamers out of this. Oh, I love it when they cluster at these doors. Again, not trying to claim the outpost. Close the door. I don't have a lot of room left in my inventory, do I? Well, let's grab a few things anyway. Let's see here. Oh, our Talvos is asking why Red Talon recruits have to have that 45-minute gap between them. Wouldn't it be nicer if we sort of let you recruit them more rapid fire? Like, if you've got the prestige and you want to add 3 Red Talon characters to your community, why don't we allow you to do that? That's a really good question, actually. I think that, we were really nervous up front about Red Talon soldiers being OP, being overpowered and being kind of unbalancing. And so just putting, that was one thing. So, being able to get a bunch of them all at once felt a little bit powerful, but I mean, I don't know. If you can get them eventually, then what is the difference in the long term? Probably not a huge one. Another issue was the fact that we were a little bit nervous because you can sort of, send them back, re-recruit them, send them back, re-invite them until you get exactly who you want. We were a little bit nervous that would actually, that could cause some sort of problems with thematically with the way we wanted our characters to work. Like, we didn't want people to feel like, oh, I just get to customize exactly whoever I want and have them in my community. We kind of wanted there to be a little bit of a sense that, I've got to deal with whoever I get. In the real world, I can't just customize a human being to be exactly who I want. I have to actually, go out there and find real human beings, and that's a messy process that is unpredictable. And we wanted to kind of simulate that in the game a little bit, and not just have you feel like, I get to customize whatever perfect character I want, and therefore any character who isn't perfect is a disappointment and deserves to die, which felt thematically like it maybe wasn't the best way for the game to work. But at the same time, at the time that we made that decision, Red Talon characters actually were more random than they currently are.
I got an offer you can't refuse.
Right now, Red Talon characters are highly predictable. There's only a few different selections of traits they can have, and you can tell by just looking at the traits a lot about how the character is going to play and how they're going to develop over time. And so that goal of having them be a little bit more random, a little bit more like, well, you got to, deal with it, it's a little less true now. And so it might be that basically because the Red Talon characters are so OP, and it's actually very difficult for us to... There's not a lot left that we can do to make them less OP to try to counterbalance them. We did a pass on them to give them at least some downsides so that they weren't just 100% green and 100% just, these are the best characters of the game, why should you have anyone else? But I think we pushed that to about as far as we can do it without the audience completely rebelling. A lot of people didn't like it when we did it at the time. So, I don't think we have much more room to do that. So it could be that right now we might as well just lean in to the fact that our Red Talon characters are going to be OP. People are going to try to perfectly customize their array of Red Talon talent, and maybe just making that easier would actually be just an overall benefit to the game, and we're not getting that much out of restricting them as much as we are. That's a worthwhile thought, actually, so I'm going to take a note about that. So thank you for bringing that up, Artalvos. I think that's a really, worthwhile thing to think about. So, Red Talon, 45 minutes. I'll remember what I mean by that. So yeah, I'm really glad when people bring concerns like that to the table because, a lot of this stuff, we're doing our best to make the best choice we can. And in some cases, like for instance, having only a single follower, we're really in a situation where, we made the best choice we can, and we kind of have to stick to that choice because the factors that led to that choice are still the same. With that Red Talon thing, I don't know. I think that we might be learning over time or changing over time in a way that makes new ideas in that department a little bit more plausible. So, Raneth Cord says, are all the radio dialogue issues not known issues? I'm not sure which ones you're referring to. So just because I don't know about something doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a known issue somewhere on the team. I often will actually write bugs as a result of chatting with people on this stream. And the bugs will come back as duplicates because, absolutely somebody in QA already found that issue, knew all about it. And all I did was provide maybe an additional video about it that might be a little bit useful, but didn't need a new bug. So I don't know what radio issues you're talking about, but they might very well be known issues. Let's see here. Oh, Sir Nanobot says, has the redness of plague zombies been washed out during nighttime on this map in Meager Valley? It feels hard to tell besides their pulsing eyes. Well, Nanobot, I'm not in Meager Valley right now. I'm in Cascade Hills. Typically, I've been playing in Meager Valley on my stream lately, but I switched communities because the Salt of the Earth were going to be better at completing a couple of bounties than the Assembly was. So this is not Meager Valley. And actually, I'm also playing, with the Salt of the Earth, I'm also playing on a lower difficulty level. I'm playing on Dread instead of Nightmare, so I think there's actually a lot fewer Plague Hearts and a lot fewer Plague Zombies on this map than what you've been seeing on my stream previously. Oh, Ranith Court says that the Red Talon and network radio calls no longer work since Update 29 was added to the PTR. That is something I... Really? Since... I'm trying to remember. Oh, no, I did recruit my Red Talon guy to the assembly right before Update 29 dropped. So that is... no, that's not something that I knew about. Again, that does not mean that it's not being worked on, but I'll definitely... I'll ask about that. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So Artalvo suggests, here's a new idea for a new outpost for the game. What about a junkyard or recycling center where you can get parts, circuits, and even facility mods every day at random? So I do like the idea of being able to get access to specifically the 3 special, what are they called? The 3 special resources, the circuitry, the electronics / circuitry. I forgot what the official name of it was. The ethanol and the other one, the chemical one. There's, I think it might just be called chemicals. I'm not sure. Reagents, chemical reagents, I think is what it's called. I could absolutely see the desire for something like that, because right now that is something you only have to search all over the map for, and having some place to get a regular source of that, so, for instance, so that you can make C4 with it, that does sound potentially valuable. However, we have to be a little bit cautious about, having there be an easy solution to everything, because you could get to a point where eventually there's just no motivation for you to ever scavenge after a certain point, which I don't know if that would be. I mean, in some cases, depending on how you like to approach your forever community. If you like your forever community to be one where you never have to worry about any resources of any kind again, and all you do is run out and kill zombies with it, that's not a crazy thing to ask if that's the way you want to play. However, if you actually do derive a fair amount of enjoyment from needing things and scavenging for things, but you also can't resist a really good source for stuff, it could be that we could actually mess up the game a little bit by effectively giving you the ability to remove the need to scavenge from the game. I totally almost hit that bloater, which would have been a giant tragedy. So I forgot where the door to this warehouse is, but I wanted to come in, and there is a plague husk in here. Right? There it is. That I never finished scavenging. Oh, wow, I never finished scavenging from it. In fact, I might not even have room to scavenge everything from it right now. Holy cow, okay. And this room is actually a bonanza, too. Let's deal with that. Zuzzle asks where this vehicle is from. They've never seen it before. This is a very rare variant of the Pilato. Oh, stop it. Die, zombie. Yeah, this is a very rare variant of the Pilato that it can spawn on any map. I'm not sure if there are specific spawn points that are particularly appropriate for it. Yeah, so I should not have come here with all of these Molotovs in my inventory if I was going to be... I just thought there was going to be just like one thing left in this plague heart, and so I thought that I was just going to come grab a couple things and go, but apparently no. There's a bunch of stuff in the heart, and there's a bunch of stuff all over the map. So, all over the site. So I'll grab what I can. I think I actually probably can't grab everything here. So Cogs is recommending, I think this is a good recommendation. Cogs is recommending that if you play, if you generate a green or standard map, you're more likely to get that Red Talon Pilato. I think that's probably true because at those difficulty levels, I'm pretty sure we just spawn a lot more cars. And that means that not only are there more, random rolls on the car table, but also, we're more likely to use sort of the rarer, specialized car spawn points. So yeah, I think that actually is really good advice. If somebody really wants to get a car like this, spawning a green map and, going hunting for cars on that green map is probably a really good idea. But yeah, but whenever I get this card, because it is so rare, whenever I get it, I do hold on to it. I think I actually gave up some pretty valuable vehicles when I moved maps with this community, specifically so that I could keep this exact one, because it is so uncommon. All right. So that's probably enough scavenging for now because, like I said at the very beginning, I don't have a lot of time. I only have a couple minutes left before I need to be available to a meeting. It's not a meeting that I need to participate in a ton, but I do need to pay attention to it because reasons. I would have to tell you what kind of meeting it is, and I'm not going to. So it's not some massive thing that you should feel mysterious about. It's just a normal meeting, but whatever. It's internal matters. It's discussions about stuff. And we haven't told you everything yet, so there you go. Yeah, so Dovagul, sorry, you showed up really late. You didn't really show up that late. I'm just quitting after a very small amount of time. Okay, Medichi's having trouble getting up the stairs, and that's embarrassing. So we're just not going to look at her. We're going to let her have her little problem that she's having in private. Oh, by the way, so Steve0143 wants to know what amazing person is responsible for that Christmas jumper. So yeah, you'll notice that this character is wearing the hat and the jumper, the same exact hat and sweater that are being worn by my sheriff in my other community in the assembly. That's not a coincidence. I put this outfit on somebody in almost every community that I have because I love it so much. Both of these items were created by Susan Jessup, who was our character artist on State of Decay 2 for a really long time. She has since left the company to go off and gallivant in a field somewhere and do wonderful things. But she is one of the best things that ever happened to this team. Her work on this game has just been absolutely phenomenal. She pretty much every clever outfit that you've seen was her idea, including the swine and bovine head, the welder mask guy, like everything that if you think about a favorite outfit, she probably had the idea for it. So created it herself. And some of them she actually created in the real world and then scanned in to put them on people in the game. So yeah, she is a phenomenal talent and is somebody we were very lucky to have on our team for as long as we did. So yeah, so I am gonna have to wrap it up now, but and I don't Steve-O I think was asking if I'm gonna be back later. I doubt it today. I think I've got a lot to get done today, so probably not. But, I am trying to stream on my lunch break every day if I can. So hopefully tomorrow, the next day, the day after that. Thursday is the day when I stream the most. I tend to take most of my afternoon streaming State of Decay 2 because I just think it's really valuable for me to spend that time with you, playing my own game, learning everything I can about it. So, that's probably, if you want to find a particularly long day of streaming, Thursday is the time to do it. And I think that's probably about it. So Cogs, yeah. So most days, the reason I did did State of Decay 2 today, which is Monday at the time that I'm shooting this, the reason I did State of Decay 2 today was because I had a specific idea for something very short term that I could do, and I knew I had very little time. Most of the games that I've actually got on my slate that I actually want to play that are not State of Decay 2, I want to spend longer on. I want to have longer than, just a very tight, like, barely half an hour to spend on them. And so that's why I decided to do State of Decay 2 today. Usually on days that are not Thursday, I try to play other people's games. So we'll have to see what I have in store on later dates. But for now, there's a subscribe button. Here's links to other videos. So go nuts, and I'll see you all on some other day.